Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're plunging into a really fascinating collection of sources. It's called 75 Easy Ways to Improve Your Life, put together by the editors at Reader's Digest. And these aren't, huge complex theories. They're short, actionable tips, things that seem like they take almost no effort. So our mission here is to go a bit deeper than just the surface suggestions. We want to uncover the real wisdom behind them, the insights that can genuinely make your everyday life better. Sort of a shortcut to living more fully informed by these simple ideas.
Absolutely. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because a list like this, it looks straightforward, but hidden inside are these powerful keys to well being, productivity, connection. But you only really unlock them if you pause and ask why they work. We'll explore how these small actions done consistently aren't just trivial, they can genuinely shift your daily experience. It taps into some basic human psychology.
Okay, yeah, let's unpack this because
Yeah.
it's easy to just glance at a list like this and think, oh, common sense. We often think improving our lives means these huge dramatic changes, a total overhaul, right? But so many of these tips are about tiny things, consistent things, things that build a foundation for your day. So let's dive into some of those foundational habits first. Physical, mental things that kickstart your well being. Like tip number one, put a glass of water by your bed in the morning, drink what's left. It sounds almost too simple, right? What's the real power in just that first sip of water?
Well, it's remarkably effective. What's fascinating here is how these tiny habits, these micro habits,
Yeah.
we often dismiss them, don't we?
Yeah, totally.
But they actually build significant momentum. See, when you achieve that small, deliberate win, drinking the water or maybe making your bed, your brain releases dopamine. And dopamine isn't just a vague feel good thing, it's a reward chemical. It reinforces the behavior. It literally primes your brain to expect more achievement.
Yeah.
Psychologists talk about building self efficacy.
Self-efficacy, the belief you can succeed.
Exactly, the belief in your own ability. So you're essentially wiring your brain for success right at the start of the day, turning simple acts into this powerful psychological primer.
Huh. So it's less about the hydration almost and more about the conscious act and the follow through. That builds confidence. And what about other physical acts like tip 30, make your bed as soon as you get up, or tip 52, dedicating 10 minutes of simple yoga, downward dog, cat cow stretches, that kind of thing. Not huge tasks, but they feel symbolic somehow.
They are symbolic and practical. These aren't, grand pronouncements. They're building blocks for a structured day.
Yeah.
Making your bed, it's a small discipline, but it immediately gives you a sense of accomplishment, a bit of control over your environment. It's about winning the morning, as they say.
Winning the morning, I like that.
And the yoga or even the advice that any exercise is good. A 5-minute walk is better than no walk at all. That's tip 14. The core idea is consistency over intensity. It also helps fight decision fatigue later on, that mental drain from making choices all day. By making these small actions automatic, you free up mental bandwidth
Yeah,
and you keep reinforcing that positive dopamine loop we talked about.
that makes total sense. You're setting yourself up before the day really throws stuff at you. Okay, and for mental calm, tip 11 suggests square breathing. Breathe in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4, at the start or end of the day or when stressed. How does something so structured help beyond just taking a pause?
Square breathing or box breathing, it's a powerful tool. It directly regulates your autonomic nervous system. When we're stressed, our fight or flight, the sympathetic nervous system kicks in.
Right. Heart pounds, you feel tense.
Exactly. But structured breathing, especially with those holds, it stimulates the vagus nerve. And that activates the parasympathetic system, the rest and digest response.
Yeah.
It basically signals to your brain, okay, you're safe. It lowers your heart rate, blood pressure, promotes calm. It's like a biofeedback loop you consciously control to dial down the stress. It's more than a pause, it's a physiological reset.
Wow. A physiological reset. It's fascinating how these simple things connect to complex systems. And they also touch on modern problems, like our relationship with tech and sleep. Tips like cut out caffeine after noon, tip 26. Or, this is a big one, turn off your phone at around 9 p.m. for a better night's sleep, tip 43. How do these no effort boundaries actually help us reclaim our evenings and sleep better?
Oh, they're crucial, really crucial for cognitive and emotional health. Caffeine, well, has a half-life of about 5 hours.
Meaning half of it is still active 5 hours later.
Precisely. So that afternoon coffee can really interfere with falling asleep and sleep quality. Cutting it off around noon lets your body naturally wind down. And phones. It's not just the blue light, though that does suppress melatonin, the sleep hormone. It's also the constant stream of information, notifications.
Yeah, keeps your brain buzzing.
Exactly. It keeps your brain in an alert, problem solving mode. So, turning off the phone isn't just about light exposure, it's creating a digital detox buffer. It lets your mind decompress, process the day, and shift into a restful state, preparing for that deep, restorative sleep. It's all about setting intentional boundaries, not just reacting all the time.
Intentional boundaries. That seems like a key theme. Okay, so tending to ourselves is foundational, but like you said, life isn't lived in a vacuum. And this Reader's Digest list, it really cleverly weaves in how these simple tips can radically improve our connections, relationships, community. Take tip 2. Spend at least 10 minutes of dedicated one-on-one time with loved ones you live with. Just 10 minutes, but dedicated time. That can easily slip away, can't it?
Oh, absolutely.
And then tip 5, the reminder to call your parents. They want to hear from you. One day you won't be able to. That one hits home. Why is prioritizing these direct connections, especially family, so vital?
Well, these tips really tap into um, core psychological needs, attachment theory, the need for belonging,
Yeah.
that dedicated one on one time, free from distractions. It builds emotional intimacy. It strengthens bonds because you're creating shared moments, showing the other person they're valued. It's about quality, not just quantity.
Right.
And with parents, it speaks to that deep need for intergenerational connection and, well, the reality that those relationships are finite. There's this idea of social capital, too.
Social capital.
Right, the value in our networks, our relationships, nurturing these primary family bonds builds huge social capital. It's a buffer against stress, against loneliness. It's critical.
A buffer, that's a great way to put it. And the list pushes us beyond family, too. Tip 16. Always strike up a conversation with the grocery store clerk.
Hmm.
Now, for some people listening, that might feel, I don't know, a bit awkward, maybe even forced. How do you do that genuinely?
That's a fair point. It's definitely not about like grilling the cashier.
Right.
It's more about what you could call microdosing connection. Maybe start simpler. Tip 25 is smile at people you pass on the street.
Okay. That feels lower stakes.
Totally. Low stakes, high return. Smiling actually changes your own mood. That's facial feedback and often gets a smile back. A tiny positive interaction. Then maybe, yeah, a brief, genuine comment to the clerk. This bread is amazing. Or, wow, busy day, huh? Something simple. The goal isn't deep conversation, it's just chipping away at our own tendency towards isolation. Recognizing shared humanity in these everyday spots, these small acts, they subtly build a stronger, more empathetic social fabric.
That ripple effect again, it's not just about your interaction. Okay, and for deeper connections, tip 22 suggests find a community outside of work and family. And there are specific kindness acts like cook a good meal for someone, tip 66, or give your partner a massage, tip 68. How does finding that external community contribute?
If we look at the bigger picture here, these actions foster what sociologists call communal well being. Finding a community book club, volunteering, sports team, whatever it is, gives you a sense of shared purpose, identity. It fulfills that kind of innate tribal need we have beyond just family, and acts of kindness like cooking or massage. They release oxytocin,
The bonding hormone.
the bonding hormone, exactly, not just in the person receiving it, but in you, the giver. It boosts empathy, strengthens ties through reciprocity. Even the tip about political discussions, tip 56, listening and learning from other points of view instead of just trying to win. That's about connection too, building cognitive empathy, finding common ground. It's about actively participating.
It really is about those small intentional moments adding up, isn't it? Like hugging your children every time you see them. Tip 57. So simple, so profound. Or tip 67, making the effort to part with a smile even after a disagreement. Those little repairs.
Those are the threads that weave relationships strong, make them resilient.
Okay, moving on. This next batch of tips really pushes us towards finding joy in the everyday, adopting a more intentional, appreciative view of life, being present, which feels harder and harder these days. Some are just pure sensory delight. Tip 15, smell the lilacs. Or tip 75, take off your shoes, walk barefoot in the surf, engaging the senses. But why is it so hard to just do that, to stop and appreciate without feeling, I don't know, guilty or unproductive?
Well, our society often values productivity, right?
Yeah.
Future goals. We're always planning, solving problems, maybe dwelling on the past.
Yeah.
So deliberately smelling lilacs or feeling the sand, It's an interruption of that default mode.
Yeah.
It forces you into the here and now by activating your senses. That's mindfulness, basically.
Mhm.
And it helps fight something called hedonic adaptation.
Yeah.
That's where we get used to good things really fast and stop appreciating them.
Ah, taking things for granted.
Exactly. So by consciously engaging your senses in these simple pleasures, you kind of reset your appreciation baseline. You create these little micro moments of joy that add up. It protects you from always chasing the next big thing for happiness.
Resetting appreciation. I like that. Okay, then there are tips challenging our buying habits. Tip 21, don't go shopping when you're bored or hungry. And tip 24, asking yourself when you see a bargain, do I really need this? Ha! It's about conscious consumption, right? What's going on there behaviorally?
Oh, this raises a really important question about how our emotions and cognitive biases drive our spending. When you're bored or hungry, your self control is lower. You're way more likely to impulse buy.
Makes sense.
It's a classic affect heuristic,
Rare.
letting feelings trump logic. Asking, do I really need this, is a cognitive reframing trick. It forces a pause. It shifts you from thinking about immediate gratification, ooh, bargain, to long term value. It helps you bypass that scarcity feeling of a sale and spend more mindfully. Aligning purchases with actual needs, not just fleeting desires.
Right, stepping back from the impulse. And then there's this idea of shedding expectations, just being comfortable. Tip 6, life is too short for uncomfortable shoes. Love that one. Or tip 23, wear that Speedo or bikini if you want to. Who cares? Why is embracing that kind of authenticity, that personal comfort, so hard for so many? And what's the upside of pushing past the self-consciousness?
Well, we're constantly bombarded, aren't we? Messages about how we should look, how we should act. It creates self-consciousness, this fear of judgment. It's tied to our basic need for social acceptance.
Sure.
But always prioritizing what others might think over your own comfort.
Right.
It creates cognitive dissonance. It drains mental energy. So the freedom to wear comfy shoes or the swimsuit you like, regardless of judgment, that's an act of self-acceptance, personal agency.
Reclaiming autonomy.
Exactly. Reclaiming autonomy over your body, your choices. And that kind of self-compassion, it actually lowers stress, boosts confidence. It frees up mental space for more important things.
That feels incredibly liberating. And what about tip 18? Seize the weekday. Don't save your best china for weekends or special occasions. That feels like a direct challenge to delaying joy.
It absolutely is.
Oh.
It challenges that common thought pattern, that cognitive distortion, that happiness is always somewhere else, tied to special occasions.
Yeah, I'll enjoy myself after this project, or I'll use the good plates when guests come.
Right. We fall into that trap. But life is happening now. This tip says, infuse your everyday with small luxuries. Be mindful. Fight the someday syndrome. It's about elevating the mundane, making ordinary moments feel a bit extraordinary. Recognizing joy isn't some reward you earn later. It's a state you cultivate daily, finding richness right now.
It's about saying yes to those simple pleasures, but also learning to say no. Tip 71, it's okay to decline an invitation if you just don't feel like going. That feels huge for a lot of people. Prioritizing your own well-being.
Oh, that's a critical skill. Emotional intelligence, self-care. Call it what you want. Many people really struggle with saying no. Fear of disappointing others, feeling guilty, often comes down to wanting to be liked or avoiding conflict.
Been there.
Right. But consistently saying yes when you mean no, it leads to burnout, resentment even. Learning to set healthy boundaries, declining things when you genuinely need rest or downtime, that's self-preservation. Energy management.
Yeah.
It lets you protect your mental and emotional resources. So when you do say yes, you can actually show up fully. It's about respecting your own limits, valuing yourself.
Respecting your limits. Powerful. Okay, finally, the list reminds us to keep learning, exploring, keeping our minds open. That spark of curiosity. It could be really simple, like tip 45. Dedicate just a few minutes each day, try learning a new skill. Juggling, drawing, Sudoku, guitar. It's not about becoming an expert, is it?
Not at all. What's fascinating here is the focus on continuous cognitive engagement, learning new skills, even seemingly random ones like juggling or Sudoku. It promotes neuroplasticity.
The brain changing and adapting.
Exactly. The brain's ability to form new connections.
Yeah.
This builds cognitive reserve, the brain's resilience to damage. It can even help delay cognitive decline. Plus, it often taps into that flow state.
Mm.
You know, getting lost in something challenging but enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
It's about intrinsic motivation learning, for the fun of it, not for some external reward. These little learning moments are like mental workouts that keep the brain agile, keep curiosity alive.
Mental workouts, I like that. Or expanding horizons through food and culture. Tip 41. Cook something from another culture. Tip 46, try a new recipe once a week, or even just try a new restaurant. How does culinary exploration broaden us?
Trying new foods, new recipes.
Yeah.
It's a direct sensory and cultural exploration. Food is so tied to identity, tradition. When you engage with new flavors, techniques, you're not just expanding your palate, you're developing cultural empathy, breaking routine. It's a pretty low stakes way to step outside your comfort zone, open your mind to different ways people live and find joy. It fosters a more diverse worldview through direct experience.
And for just engaging our brains more deeply. Tip 60, don't just read the news headlines, take the time to read the whole article. In this age of scrolling and short attention spans, that feels almost radical. How does that really make us more informed?
Well, in our fast paced digital world, headlines are often designed for clicks, right? Clickbait. They give an oversimplified, maybe sensationalized view.
Definitely.
Relying only on headlines breeds superficial understanding. It can feed confirmation bias, where you only notice info that fits what you already think. Taking time to read the whole article, that demands more critical thinking. It allows for nuance, complexity. It builds media literacy, leads to more informed decisions. It's moving from passive consumption to active, engaged understanding, seeking depth, not just breadth.
Depth over breadth. That active engagement theme runs through leisure too. Taking kids, even adult kids, to museums, concerts, tip 37. Stepping off the tourist path when traveling, tip 58. These tips encourage being present, curious, open, reflecting that idea there's always more to learn, even learning to say hello in at least 3 other languages, tip 35. It's all part of that continuous growth mindset. Wow, what an incredible deep dive into these 75 easy ways. It really hits home that, profound wisdom can be hiding in plain sight.
Yeah.
In really accessible, everyday advice.
Indeed, and the cumulative effect.
Yeah.
It's real. These small, simple actions, they're backed by solid behavioral science psychology. They genuinely lead to a richer, more fulfilling life over time. It's about being intentional with our time, our connections, our own well-being. Recognizing that, yeah, little hinges really do swing big doors.
So, what does this all mean for you listening right now? Well, it means improving life isn't always about huge, dramatic changes or complex theories. It's often about consistently choosing these small, no effort tips, understanding why they work, and then consciously weaving them into your days. It's that compound effect of mindful choices. So here's a final thought for you to consider. How many of these easy ways do you sort of know you should do, but you just don't? What might happen if you pick just one? One tip from this list that you currently ignore and really committed to it for, say, the next month. What could that single simple change unlock for you in your well being, your connections, maybe your personal growth? Something to think about.